and welcome. Good evening. My name is Emmanuel, and today we are going to discuss biology. We are going to look at adaptation and some of the key questions that are likely to be repeated this year in your JAM. So I'm glad to have you around. When we talk about adaptation, we are talking about features, we are talking about behavior, we are talking about how organisms thrive, what they use to help them thrive in the environment. Now, JAMB asks questions every year from this topic. So I'm going to explain it in details to you, and I'm going to make sure that everything is just clear so that whichever way a question is asked, you would be able to be carried along. All right, let's quickly look at this picture that it's at the forefront here right before us. If you look at it, you will see a bear, you will see a camel, you will see birds that are there. Now, if we consider these organisms, there are some of the features, some behaviors that help them to adapt to their environment so that they can live well and reproduce. For bear, for example, we know them to live in polar regions where the ice, every time there is ice, even on the ground. So if you look at their legs, they have claws that will help them to walk so that they will not be slipping away and falling anyhow. So this is an adaptation and it's structural because it's part of their own body. I'm going to explain this more in detail. Then we have camel. Camels survive in desert. So sometimes they drink water once and they can survive for up to 6 months without drinking water again. Okay, I hope you get that. Now, they have structural adaptation. Their body is designed in such a way that if they drink water once, they can live for up to 6 months without taking water. This is an adaptation because of the kind of environment they live. Their kidney is designed in such a way that it will not remove too much water from their body. So if they drink once, they are likely to survive for a long time. Look at the birds there also. Their body is made up of a kind of a special feathers, and even the bear too. Look at how its body is covered with fur. So these are some of the examples of structural adaptations, and we are going to look at these things in detail because JAMB will definitely ask you a question from this place. Thank you. Follow me as we continue. All right, so what is adaptation? Adaptation has to do with special features or behaviors that helps an organism survive and reproduce in its environment. Please take note of this. There are features and behaviors that help what an organism survive and reproduce. If you are part of my students, I'm going to make this PowerPoint available. If you are not, you can join us. Just write interested in the comment section. I will find a way to get you into our WhatsApp group. So don't forget these two key words, behavior and features, that help an organism to do what? Survive and reproduce. It helps them to thrive in their environment. Okay, I hope this is clear. All right, we have types of adaptation. We have behavioral, that means a behavior that an animal shows forth. We are going to look at it in detail. And we have structural, that has to do with their body parts, a specialized body parts that help them to adapt, that help them to survive, that helps them to thrive in an environment. Then we have physiological adaptation. So these are three key types of adaptations. Okay, look at this picture here. This is a picture of a moth on a tree. Look at the color of the tree and the color of the moth. So it helps it to adapt, to live, to survive, and to reproduce in the environment because its color and that of the tree looks similar. So hardly will anything notice the difference and a kind of try to... Okay, so prey will not be able to recognize it because its color is similar to that of its environment. I hope this is clear. All right, so we are going to look at some key things in detail. Just follow me attentively, and I'm going to explain everything in detail so that you will get every question that JAMB will ask around this area. So let's proceed. Up next here, we have adaptive colorations. So we talk about structural adaptation. Some organisms have specialized structures that help them adapt to the environment. So when we talk about adaptive coloration, for example, in chameleon has this ability to to change color based on the environment so that it can hide itself from prey. Are we getting it? It can hide itself from a predator, rather, not prey. Yes, it can hide itself from predator. Prey is the one that is not stronger, that is likely to be eaten or to be killed by a predator. So let's note the difference between that. So color of an organism helps it to blend with its environment, and it can also serve as a warning signal. So this color adaptation has two roles. Sometimes it can serve the purpose of helping it to blend with the environment. It can also help it to serve as a warning signal against predator. All right, let's look at the pictures we have there. We have a very big fish there in ocean swimming. Now look at the color. This is what we call counter shading. Okay, let me just move my... All right, in counter shading, this fish at its back, at the top, it has this dark spot. It is dark at the top. Why? Because it will help it to make the color similar to that of water, a bit darker, instead of making it being white. So that color helps it to a kind of hide, not easily detected by the prey. Now, under it does, around its stomach, is light in color, and that helps it also to adapt with any predator that is coming from under the water. You know, when light falls, it reflects. So the reflection of light is light in nature. So that under nature has to be light, because if it is dark like the back, the organism or the predator that is coming from beneath would be able to quickly recognize that that is something and go after it. So this is what we call counter shading, and it helps the fish to strive in the environment, hiding it from any predator coming from the top or any predator coming from underneath. Okay, then we have camouflage. I already explained camouflage, like in the case of chameleon that tries to hide itself. All right, so we have warning coloration. Look at this picture here. That is a color, okay? That is a toad. Look at the color. So such color warns or sends warning to predator. Warning of, I am poisonous. The color is not similar color. We have blue, we have yellow, you know. If you look at the toad very well, you would observe those colors. So this is an example of adaptive coloration, and I've mentioned the two goals and the two aims and the two purposes it serves. It serves first for what? To help an organism blend with the environment so that it cannot be easily detected by the prey, and it would survive. It will not be killed easily. Secondly, it serves as a warning signal to the predator. I hope that is clear. All right. Okay. Yes, I just decided to put some assignment questions here. There are many. We are not done. We are not done. So this is just assignment questions. So pick them, then we continue. Maybe you can pause the video at this point in time. Look at the assignment questions very well. Write out your answers. Then I will continue explaining. Later at the end also, I put some of them there. So, all right, let me just give a little explanation very fast here. What is the primary purpose of adaptation in organisms? Hey, I have said this already. All right, so to reproduce faster. B says to survive and thrive in the environment. C says to increase their size. D says to compete with other species. I don't know which one is your answer. So you don't need to copy the question. Just if question 1, A is the correct answer, just write 1, then you write A. The way we used to do now, my students, I hope you get this. But if you are not my student, sorry, you may not understand what we are trying to say. But if you are interested in answering the questions too, you can. So just drop interested in the comment section. Let me link you to our group, so that, because we do assignments, we do mental drill, we do several activities to make sure that I provide an all-round preparation against JAMB this year. So if you are not my student, you are coming across this video and you are interested in participating in what we are doing, and you want to do this assignment, just drop a comment in the comment section. I am interested. Please add me to the WhatsApp group. So thank you for understanding. Then the second question says, which of the following is an example of behavioral adaptation? If you didn't get this, wait for my explanation, then you can later come back and check. All right, but when we talk about behavioral, we are talking about behavior, something that the animal does, not its body, not the body structure now, not structural. We are talking about an action, an activity that the animal does to try to kind of adapt to the environment. All right, so let's look at the options. Long neck in giraffe. Yes, long neck. Is that structural or behavioral? That's not a behavior. That's structure. We are talking about long neck. You get it. All right, the next one. A bear hibernating. You know what we call hibernating? Okay. We have a kind of an inactivity that an organism goes into. For example, there is one fish we call African lungfish. This fish live in water, but if water dries, it burrow into the soil and it will produce a kind of nest, and it will hide itself there. It will be inactive and it will remain there till water comes again. That's what we call hibernation. It goes inactive. When the environment is okay for it to strive, it will come back and continue living. So that's the example. So is that a behavior or structural? Okay, I will not say it. The next one is sharp claws of lion. Claws, you know them, sharp claws on their legs. Those end these things. So is that structural or behavioral? All right, the color of chameleon skin. The color of chameleon skin. Is that structural or behavioral? All right, the third question before we continue is, which of the following is structural adaptation? Structural adaptation. Okay, we talk about behavioral, now is structural. Okay. A says a bird migrating to a warmer climate. Migration, movement. Is that an action or a body something? You know. Then we have a cactus storing water in its stem. A cactus is a plant, so storing water in its stem. Is that structural or behavioral? A dog barking loudly to warn its owner. Is that behavior or structure? Good. The last one, a whale using echolocation. Echolocation. Whales are able to detect vibrations. Yes, they are able to detect vibrations. So is that also a behavioral or is structural? All right, so these are the three questions. Let's continue with the explanation. In case this is not clear, don't worry. Continue listening. You would get it later in my explanation. Then you can come and answer. Thank you. All right, so we have behavioral adaptation. When we talk about behavioral adaptation, it's just simple. This is English. Behavior. If you tell someone, I don't understand the way you are behaving this way, you are trying to say that the person is acting in a way that is different. This has to do with action. Behavioral. I hope this is clear. All right, so some animals exhibit behavioral adaptation. That's the patterns, actions of a behavior that improves survival and reproduction. Don't forget the sole role for adaptation is for survival and reproduction. It's so that they can survive and continue reproducing and continue and have their generations continue. I hope that's clear. All right, so example, we have social insects like ants, bees, and termites. These animals have or exhibit behavioral adaptations. We have cooperative hunting under these social insects. For example, even let's say lion can hunt together. They can chase one prey together. That's an example of cooperative hunting. Okay, then we have division of labor. Look at this picture. That's ants. Yes, it's an illustration of ants. So we have the queen. The queen is responsible for eggs for reproduction. The worker is responsible for looking for food, for making nests, while the soldier is responsible for protecting the eggs and the queen. Do you see it? So they do division of labor. Okay, so this is behavior. It's a behavior, it's an action. I hope you are getting this now. Okay, then we have complex communication. We have complex communication in some insects like ants. For example, pheromone trails. Pheromone is more like a chemical substance that an animal releases from its own body that helps another one to perceive it. So some of these are used for sexual attraction. Once they are releasing that kind of odor, those pheromones from their body, a male will be able to perceive and be attracted for mating. So these are some of the examples of behavioral adaptations. Once you can remember behavior, structure, simple now. All right, so let's continue, please. Okay, please, if you have not subscribed to this channel, I don't know if you are learning anything at all. If you are learning something, please subscribe, like, make a comment. Let me know if what I'm doing is okay, if I'm doing good. If you are not understanding my teaching, feel free to reach out. My goal is to give you a quality understanding on these subjects of sciences. I have been making videos on physics, chemistry. All these are very important and they will help you. So before you continue, do the needful. That's the only way you can assist me, because I want to reach more students. And if you do that, it will be able to go more viral. Thank you very much. So we continue. All right. So we have structural adaptation. I earlier said structure has to do with the body, the construction. So it has to do with physical features that help an organism to survive. For example, camel's feet. Have you ever seen the leg of camel? That under, how it is. So that's an structural adaptation. It helps it to walk in the desert where there is what? Sand. Now, assuming or imagine the leg of camel is like this. Would it be possible for it to walk in sand? Once it put its leg, the leg will just sink inside sand. Do you see there is trouble already? But their leg is, in fact, maybe as wide as my two hands put together. So, even if they step on sand, they will not be able to sink. That's structural adaptation. Okay, then we have polar bear. I have shown this earlier of bear having fur all over their body. Having fur, hair. If you don't understand the word fur, their body is covered with hair to withstand the low temperature, because there is very cold. So the fur helps them to maintain their body temperature, a kind of providing a blanket, a cover that helps them strive. Okay, then we have bird's beak. Yes, different shapes for feeding. This is true. An eagle's beak is not the same thing with fowl, poultry, normal ones we keep at home. They are not the same. So depending on what an organism eats, their mouths are adapted to their feeding. Different shapes for different feeding. Those that feed on animals like lizard, snake, example like eagle, their beaks are not just normal beaks. So these are structural. Look at this picture now. This is a lizard. Lizards are cold-blooded animals, so they need to come up when the sun is out to trap some sunlight. So they have a structural adaptation that helps them together to survive and continue living. All right, so we have behavioral. I have already explained behavioral, and I think it is very clear enough. So we have basking behavior, where animals seek sunlight to regulate the body. Okay, yeah, I've explained this in the previous picture. I think that previous picture should also have been here. So there are two things about lizard. It behaves by coming out under the sun. Meanwhile, its body also is made in such a way that it cannot regulate its body temperature. So they are cold-blooded animals. Okay, so that's basking behavior. Basking behavior, an animal come under sun to regulate it. Then we have territorial behavior. So these are types of behaviors that animals exhibit. So territorial, when two male lions found themselves in the same jungle, there is problem. A gamma lizard, for example, they will be fighting. Everybody wants to be the king of the territory. Okay, so that's territorial behavior. Then we have migratory behavior. All these are behaviors. Birds will be here. When the season is changing, they will fly and move somewhere. That is a behavior. It's an action that they are making. It's not the structure. It's not the structure. It's action. I hope this is very clear. Okay. Okay. We are coming to the end of this class. Yes. I believe by now you have subscribed. Did you like? No? Okay, like now. Okay. So these are the remaining questions for the assignment. We have question 4. What is the process by which species develop adaptation over time? So there is, I don't want to give you an answer now. By the time I start explaining, I will not do that. Okay, so just look at the question. It's very simple. If it's not simple, just make your little findings and search. You will never forget it, I bet you, if you get it. Okay, how do camouflaging animals benefit from their adaptation? Camouflage, changing color to match that of the environment. How does they benefit? A says they can attract mates more easily. Is that the reason? They can catch prey faster. They can avoid predators. You see, all these questions are very simple. So which of the following is an example of physiological adaptation? Yeah. So we have a polar bear stick 4, the cheetah's ability to run fast, the cactus storing water in its tissues, a bat's ability to fly, and 7 says, which of the following organism is most likely to have developed adaptation for desert survival? Camel, fish, deer, and rabbit. Okay, so let's go. Okay, this is the last part. What is the result of a species not being able to adapt to changing environment? Species that is not able to adapt, what happens to it? It will come to extinction. You people are making me to say the answer. Okay, read the remaining questions and answer them. Okay, read the remaining question and answer them. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next class. I have made many videos on biology, chemistry, physics. Someone asked why not English, so I'm working on that to see how I can also see either myself or a friend of mine will come up with English videos that will help you in preparation for your JAMB. Thank you once again. See you in the next class.